Namaste. Dharma Tales. Let's debate. I'm happy to have you in the next episode of Dharma Tales, where we are looking at what Dharma is, what it really means to uphold Dharma, how the moral fabric of the people and why they need to be held together for Dharma to exist, and hence help towards holding this universe together itself. Today I'm going to take you through a very interesting story from Mahabharata. One of the days during the Ajnatavasa, when Pandavas were in the forest, they happened to meet sage Narada, and Yudhishthira, the first brother of the Pandavas, also known as Dharma, had a series of interesting conversations with sage Narada. During one of the time, he asked him a question: how do I lead my personal life? How do I lead my life as a king? By what values and by what dharma should I actually lead myself and lead the kingdom? So sage Narada looked at him and then told him, instead of giving you a direct answer, let me share a story for you. And from this story, you may be able to make out on what it means for you to lead your life, your personal life, your interpersonal life, and the life as a king when you have a court, when you have ministers, when you have subjects. How do you rule as a king? And then he takes him through a very interesting story. Sage Narada shares the story of a sage, of a Rishi, rather a Maharishi, who was there in the forest. He had, through his meditation and penance, he had developed a habit, or he had developed the special power of attracting animals towards him. In some way, the animals felt a lot of peace in his presence. So whenever he used to be in the ashram, the animals, all kind of animals used to come. And then they all used to just be in his presence. And then at some point of time, they all go away. And they develop some kind of peace being in his presence. And somehow a dog once landed up in the ashram, and then it started being there along with the Maharishi. And once one of the times when the Maharishi was meditating, a very fierce looking leopard actually came inside the ashram. And the dog got really terrified by this leopard because it was very ferocious. And it knew that its life is at danger. Immediately it ran into the lap of the Maharishi, and the Maharishi understood what really the dog was going through. And out of his love and compassion for this, he just thought that I would give something for this dog so that it can feel comfortable. And through his yogic power, he makes this dog into a leopard. And suddenly now the dog is a leopard. And then it moves into the forest. And then now it has got its new power. And then it starts now terrifying other smaller animals, what it had actually gone through earlier. And once it meets a tiger. And this tiger is obviously more powerful from this leopard. And the dog inside the leopard makes it be fearful again. It comes back and runs into the lap of the Maharishi. And the Maharishi understood what the dog, now which is a leopard, is going through. And then makes the leopard into a tiger so that it's on par with the tiger and it doesn't have to feel the fear. So now the dog, which has become a leopard and then become a tiger, moves into the forest and lives without fear till it meets another bigger animal, like an elephant. And then it comes back again crying. And again, the Rishi turns the tiger now into an elephant. And now it meets another eight-legged demon which existed those days, which was the most powerful in the forest. And that started terrifying the elephant. This was considered to be the most powerful animal of those days. And once the elephant, which still was a dog inside, found this animal, it ran back to the Rishi, and then the Rishi understood what it was. And then through his yogic power, he again makes now the elephant into this eight-headed animal. And now with its newfound power, it goes back into the forest. Now it's literally the king of the forest, and it starts terrifying people. And it starts terrifying all the subjects. It starts terrifying the animals. And at some point of time, now starts thinking, now I am the most powerful. How would it be if I go back and now consume or start teasing the Maharishi itself, who gave me all the power? Because it felt that that is the ultimate test of the strength that it has to go through. The moment this thought came into its mind, the Maharishi, being what he is, got the thought of the now the eight-headed animal, and then instantly he turns that animal into a dog. And now the dog comes back and then falls at the feet of the Rishi and start crying and whimpering and whatever that the dog does. And the story sort of ends here. And then Narada looks at Dharma and then asks him a question. As a king, as a subject, as an individual being, as a person who has a family, how do you view this story? Do you come across people who have such values? Do you come across people who always come and take things from you, who may not really be worthy of it? Yet when you land up giving, what happens? These are the steps which the story Narada makes Dharma to start thinking. And then he asks the question which I wanted to ask you maybe. Now you have heard the story. Go to the social media handle in which you are watching this story. Look at the comment section. How does this story convert into the dharmic values? What kind of questions does it raise? What kind of answers does it give? When you come across people who start taking things from you, but as you start giving them and they start growing in power, the same is applicable to the political system that exists. When you start voting for people who come to you begging for votes, or they buy the votes, or whatever, they influence you to vote, and then they give them the power, the next 5 years, what happens? These are the questions. Say you are in a corporate life. You give certain power, executive powers to your executive who works for you, and then he starts misusing, and then comes back bouncing on you as well. What kind of dharmic questions does this story raise in your mind and heart? How do you answer them? Please go ahead, choose the respective social media handle, look for the comment section, share your insights. How would it help if we internalize the learning from this dharmic story? How would it help us to relook at the concept of Dharma so that the moral fiber of the universe is properly held together the way it is supposed to be held? Dharma Tales. Let's debate. Let's meet again in the next story. Thank you.